The wine has passed 3 rounds, and the dishes have passed 5 flavors. When everyone had almost drunk, Qin Ranxue explained that the real purpose of her holding this class reunion was to borrow money. Her father's company's capital chain was broken, and she owed a high amount of debt outside, and what I didn't expect the most was that her father actually owed us China Resources, and the amount was not small. That's a coincidence. If she didn't hurry up and put money into it, her father's company would face closure. Qin Ranxue also had no choice, so she held this class reunion, ready to borrow money from her good old classmates. But what she didn't expect was that none of the powerful classmates in the class came before, so she had to hit the idea on Zhou Baogon, the best bastard. Maybe she also knew that Zhou Baogon liked her before, so she borrowed money from Zhou Baogon. Zhou Baogon, who was still bragging before, was about to borrow 600,000 yuan as soon as Qin Ranxue opened his mouth, and he immediately became a little embarrassed. Ranxue, my company has recently invested a lot of money in a project, and there are still hundreds of thousands of working capital in the company's accounts. But it's just a drop in the bucket for you. Old classmates, since Ranxue's father's company has a problem and needs money, let's help her father get through this difficulty. Let's get together and see if we can fill in the hole of her father's 600,000 yuan. Maybe Zhou Baogon still likes Qin Ranxue now. He is very positive about Qin Ranxue, and immediately asked all the students present to raise money. But the people present are all people with average family backgrounds. You say it's okay to make do with tens of thousands, but these 600,000, even if they are sold, it is not enough for this number. And it's been a few years since they graduated. Everyone has their own life, and they definitely won't sacrifice themselves to fulfill others. After all, they didn't play particularly well with Qin Ranxue, a rich girl, before. So when I heard that everyone was struggling to raise money, they found all kinds of excuses to cry poor. And the friendship of classmates at this time is also vividly reflected in the face of money. It's okay to come out and play and eat together, but it's definitely impossible to ask them to pay for it. Qin Ranxue saw that everyone didn't speak. She sighed, her face was helpless, and her eyes dimmed a lot. Ranxue, you can ask Zhang Yuan for help in this matter. He is the driver of the boss of China Resources, and he has a good relationship with the boss of China Resources. Maybe he can help you. I didn't expect Musia to mention me suddenly, and if Musia didn't mention me, they wouldn't even be aware of my existence. Now that she mentions me, everyone around her is looking at me. But when they heard about the profession of driver, they immediately showed a look of contempt on their faces. Sia, don't be kidding. What can he do for me with a small driver? This kind of thing can't help people like him. And if you look at him like this, he himself is mixed up like this, how can he have a good relationship with the boss of China Resources? Qin Ranxue revealed her contempt for me both inside and outside her words. I frowned. Musia mentioned me just now. I originally wanted to call Uncle Hua in her face. If you can help me help her, it's nothing. But she still looks down on me now, so I'm helping her. I'm really stupid. Forget it, don't embarrass him, the little driver. This kind of thing is really not something he can help. Don't look up to him too much. Students, classmates, if there is a problem in the classmates, please help. Ranxue, in this way, I will lend you 100,000 yuan to help your father get through the difficulties. After Zhou Bao finished losing me, he talked to the classmates around him again. Musia's expression immediately became a little uncomfortable. She originally wanted me to show her face, but they talked about her incidentally, and it is estimated that she is also very uncomfortable in her heart. Originally, I didn't want to take care of this matter. After all, I just came to accompany Musia. But seeing them say this about me, I can't bear it anymore with my low-key nature. After all, people live all their lives, isn't it just to fight for breath? If you don't even have this breath, then it's really not interesting to live. I took out my phone and called Uncle Hua directly, and then pressed the speakerphone in front of everyone. Xiao Yuan, what's wrong? As soon as the phone rang, Uncle Hua was about to ask me on the phone. Uncle, does a company surnamed Qin owe China Resources a lot of money? I glanced at them and asked Uncle Hua on the phone. Xiao Yuan, you're asking about Weilong Company, Limited, right? I glanced at Qin Ranxue, and when she heard the name of this company, her face immediately became a little excited, and she hurriedly nodded to me. Me, yes, that's the company. Well, Weilong does owe us 450,000 yuan for materials from China Resources. Xiao Yuan, why did you suddenly ask about this? Uncle Hua asked me on the phone with some confusion. I glanced around and said directly to Uncle Hua, Uncle, I am an old classmate with Boss Wei Long's daughter, and she came to me today and wanted me to help her with this. Uncle Hua, oh, that's it. Xiao Yuan, we at China Resources are going to develop a project recently, and we also need to invest a lot of working capital. When they heard this, all of them had disdain on their faces. Xin Ronshua's excited expression immediately became gloomy, as if she wanted to say, look, this matter is really not something that you, the driver, can solve. However, since you have begged Uncle Xiao Yuan, it is okay to postpone it for a few days, and the interest will be calculated according to the interest in the bank. Uncle Hua said with a sudden turn. Muxia immediately showed a smile on her face. It was estimated that she was happy for Qin Ranxue. And Qin Ranxue's face was also flushed, her expression was very excited, and she hoped that I would agree quickly. But I said, Uncle, then let Wei Long pay back the money quickly, and he can't delay it for a day, otherwise he will go to the court to sue him. Everyone around me widened their eyes at my sudden turn. Muxia was also surprised, and Qin Ranxue was about to cry. I hung up the phone, put away the phone and said to Muxia, let's go, I'll send you home, I don't want to eat this meal. Zhang Yuan, you're going too far, you're still not a man. Are you so stingy? I'll hurt you twice, and you're going to push my family to a dead end. Qin Ranxue immediately scolded me regardless of her image. Zhou Baogong, who was next to her, also said to me, Zhang Yuan, you have indeed gone too far. You did this without any regard for the affection between our old classmates. The people around me also accused me of going too far. My expression was slightly angry, excessive? Then let's ask you, isn't it too much for you to do to me? Qin Ranxue, I didn't care about you when I was at school, but since I came to this class reunion, what the hell do you have besides looking down on me? As for Zhou Baogong's classmate affection, I want to ask all of you here, who of you regard me as an old classmate? All of you look down on me and hurt me, and now that I am valuable, you want me to help again. I'm sorry, I'm not a fool, and I don't play moral kidnapping. And for snobbish classmates like you, I don't want it. After telling them, I resolutely walked outside. Muxia sighed, followed me and walked outside without speaking. And Qin Ranxue hurriedly chased me out. She kept begging me to help her in the back, and she even cried in a hurry. Qin Ranxue, let me tell you, I won't help you. It's not that I, Zhang Yuan, disregard my classmates, but that people like you are not worthy of my help. After I finished speaking, I shook off her hand that grabbed my arm and got straight into the car. She hurriedly grabbed Muxia again, and begged Muxia to help her persuade me to help her. Ranxue, what you did before was really too much, I can't stand it. You said that if you talk about him like this, can he not be angry with you? Muxia finished speaking, and whispered to her again, she will send me home in a while, you can do this. Do you know? Qin Ranxue wiped the tears on her face, and immediately nodded to Muxia with red eyes. I sat in the car and waited for a while, and Muxia got into the car. What did you tell her? I asked her. You want to hear a woman's secret? Muxia looked at me. I shook my head, started the car and drove straight ahead. On the way, Muxia didn't persuade me, so she talked to me about her work in Haidong Company today. I was also much more relaxed, chatting with her and driving outside her neighborhood. Go back and get an early rest. I sat in the car and smiled at her. You haven't eaten much at the restaurant before, come up with me, I'll cook something for you. Otherwise, you'll have to go home and eat instant noodles. Well, I didn't expect Muxia to care so much about me. Indeed, when I had dinner with those so-called old classmates before, I was depressed and full, and I didn't eat much at all. I barely hesitated, and nodded to her immediately. I found a place to park the car, and I went upstairs with her. This is my second time at Muxia's house, and sometimes I often think that it would be great if I lived with her. But this is just a fantasy for us now, after all, we are not even boyfriend and girlfriend now, let alone live together. And I'm not sure if Muxia likes me or not, although my personality has really been a lot more resolute in the past 2 years. But I'm still very cowardly about relationships, and I don't dare to tell Muxia that I like her, because I'm afraid she will refuse. And I don't know how to confess to Muxia. When Musia opened the door, I walked inside. Musia asked me to sit on the sofa and went to the kitchen to get busy. But it didn't take long for there to be a knock on the door. Could it be that she had made an appointment with someone else? Zhang Yuan, go and help me open the door, I can't leave for the time being. Musia hurriedly shouted to me as she was busy in the kitchen in an apron. I answered and hurriedly got up to open the door, but as soon as I opened the door, my face immediately changed when I looked at the person standing at the door. Why are you here? Standing at the door was Qin Ranxue, carrying 2 bags of canned beer and some side dishes in her hands. If I don't understand at this point, then I'll be a fool. Zhang Yuan, I apologize to you for what happened before. I beg you to help me, my dad is really difficult now. If he can't repay the arrears of China resources, he will really go bankrupt. Qin Ranxue carried the bag and stood alone outside the door and pleaded with me with an aggrieved face. My face turned cold. It has nothing to do with me whether your father is bankrupt or not. I don't want to care, and I don't want to care. Zhang Yuan, you can help Qin Ranxue, her family is really difficult during this time. I know she said something earlier that hurt you and made you feel uncomfortable. But aren't we still old classmates? Can you really bear to see her family go bankrupt? While I was talking to Qin Ranxue, Musia wore a pink apron and came out of it to help her speak. Qin Ranxue nodded hurriedly, her eyes were filled with tears, and she looked very pitiful. I looked back at Musia and said, Sia, if you are in trouble, then I will help you even if I fight for this life. And if she doesn't do that to me, then I'll help her old classmate too. But now it's not possible, because I don't want to help her. Eat, I'm leaving, I'll pick you up tomorrow morning and go to work. With that, I was going to go outside. But Qin Ranxue grabbed my hand, and she cried and said to me, Zhang Yuan, I beg you to help me, I beg you. As she spoke, she slowly fell to her knees on the ground. Zhang Yuan, you see that Ran Shui has begged you like this, you can help her. She's my best friend, and I don't want to see her so sad. Musia also said to me with a distressed look on her face, Qin Ranxue. To be honest, seeing them begging me like this, I did think about whether or not to help her once. But when I thought of her previous despised me, my face became indifferent again. I'm sorry, it's useless for you to beg me, I can't do anything about this. I directly let go of Qin Ranxue's hand, and then walked out with a cold face. Zhang Yuan, Zhang Yuan. Qin Ranxue knelt behind her and cried and kept shouting at me. But I ignored her and continued downstairs. When I got downstairs, I took out a cigarette and lit one, and I was a little irritable right now. When you look down on me, you hurt me like that and laugh at me. Now that you've asked me for help, get on my knees. If I knew this, why didn't she treat me better in the first place? I don't want to make this happen, and I want her family to get through this time, but I just can't get over that hurdle in my heart. Musia's house, as soon as I left, Qin Ranxue hurriedly got up and grabbed Musia's hand, crying and hurriedly begging her, Sia, can you help me beg Zhang Yuan? I know he likes you, if you ask him, he will definitely agree to you. Can you help me? Ran Shui, don't talk nonsense, Zhang Yuan is really good to me, but he doesn't necessarily like me. And you have seen this incident, it is useless for me to beg him, you must apologize to him yourself and ask for his forgiveness, so that he will help you. In fact, he is a knife-mouthed tofu heart, if you ask him twice, he will definitely help you. Musia took her hand and said to her, Nasia, you help me find a way, tell me what to do and he will help me. Good girlfriend, you can help me think about it, otherwise my family will really go bankrupt, and my dad will scold me to death. Qin Ranxue asked her very anxiously. Musia thought for a moment, and then said, tomorrow he will go to Haidong to pick me up and take me to work, you can. Like this I finished smoking a cigarette downstairs, threw the cigarette butt on the ground and stepped on it, then got into the car without looking back, and drove straight home. But soon after I got home, I was hungry, so I went to the refrigerator and rummaged through it, but there was nothing in it. Come to think of it, I usually go to Uncle Hua's place to eat, and I haven't bought anything to eat at all. After 2 bottles of mineral water, I struggled to fall asleep while suffering from hunger. Since the car was repaired, Uncle Hua called me to stop picking him up and just drive to the company by himself in order to let me get in touch with Musia. I bought 2 pancakes and a bottle of pure milk for breakfast, and then went to pick up Musia for work. Zhang Yuan, I want to sing at night, would you like to accompany me? Musia suddenly said to me in the car. She asked me to sing out of the blue? Of course I'm willing to go. If I don't go to this opportunity to be alone with Musia, then I'm really hopeless. Immediately promised her and told her that I would pick her up when she got off work. After sending her to Haidong Company, I drove back to China Resources and went to Uncle Hua's office. Uncle Hua asked me why I called him last night to ask him to urge Wei Long to repay the money. I will tell Uncle Hua everything about how Qin Ranxue and others looked down on me at the class reunion last night. When Uncle Hua heard this, he immediately became angry. This old Qin really raised a good daughter, even my nephew dares to look down on him. I have to pay back the money, so I immediately asked Mr. Wu from the finance department to call him and ask him to repay the money immediately, otherwise Lao Tzu will go to a lawsuit to sue him. After saying that, Uncle Hua immediately brought a phone call to Angkor from the finance department, asking Angkor to immediately collect debts from Weilong Company and sue them if they didn't repay the money. Uncle Hua was originally a resolute person, and because I was bullied like Qin Ranxue, he naturally wanted to help me fight for my breath. But after waiting for a long time, Qin Ranxue's father called Uncle Hua in person and asked Uncle Hua what happened and why he suddenly urged so tightly. You better ask your precious daughter about this, it's all a good thing she did. Lao Qin, let me tell you, pay back the money immediately, otherwise we will see you in court. Uncle Hua hung up his phone directly after saying it angrily. Because of this, Qin Ranxue was scolded by her father, saying that she was so brainless, and she would make trouble with him if she didn't do anything for a day. Also said that if Qin Ranxue didn't solve this matter, then he would cut off the father-daughter relationship with Qin Ranxue. Since she was a child, this is the first time her father has scolded her. Qin Ranxue was extremely aggrieved. But she couldn't defend herself, because she had caused this incident in the first place, and she had nothing to say. When Musia got off work, I drove over to pick her up. In the car, Musia told me that she had booked a private room at KTV from her mobile phone and asked me to drive there directly. But I didn't expect Musia to book a private room at a KTV I had been to. I have been to this KTV with Uncle Hua before, and the boss is still a person I am familiar with. Was taken to the private room by the waiter, and as soon as I entered the door, I saw that there were already many people sitting inside, and Qin Ranxue and Zhou Baogong were also in the crowd. When I saw Qin Ranxue, I immediately wanted to leave, but Qin Ranxue smiled and told me that today was Musia's birthday. When I heard that it was her birthday, I didn't want to sit with them. But in order to celebrate Musia's birthday, I couldn't bear to leave. How's it going? I didn't expect it to be my birthday, right? Said to me with a smile. I nodded, then said apologetically, I really didn't know it was your birthday. If I had known in advance, I would have prepared a gift for you. It's embarrassing for me now. If you really want to give me a gift, then you can help Qin Ranxue once, this is my biggest wish now. Musia looked at me expectantly. From Qin Ranxue's appearance here, I probably guessed that this was Musia's idea. Seeing Musia say this, my heart suddenly became very difficult. Help her? I must be 100,000 unwilling in my heart, after all, she did that to me before. It's not that I'm careful, I think even if everyone encounters this kind of thing, they will have a breath in their hearts. This is another birthday gift from Musia herself, and I don't want to refuse. After all, she is one of my favorite women, and I will accommodate her any request she makes. I hesitated, looked at Qin Ranxue and said, since this is Sia's birthday wish, then I'll call Uncle Hua and tell your dad that you don't have to pay back the money immediately. However, the money your dad owes to China Resources still has to be replaced on time, and I can only regress here. Qin Ranxue saw that I was moved, and a happy expression immediately welled up on her pretty face. But when I finished speaking, her face immediately turned melancholy again. Zhang Yuan, I really beg you, please help me this time. Our Weilong's capital chain is temporarily broken. As long as you call China Resources to collect the accounts a few months later, then our Weilong will definitely be able to get through this difficulty. Then the principal and interest will be repaid to the money owed to China Resources. Qin Ranxue hurriedly begged me. Musia also said to me beside me, yes, Zhang Yuan, since you are willing to help Ranxue, then you can help to the end. It's not a difficult thing for you to do, it's just a matter of effort. Seeing Musia helping her speak, I was really entangled in my heart. Sia, it's not that I don't want to help her. It's what she did to me before, and I really can't get over that hurdle. It's your birthday, so let's not talk about it, okay with singing? When she saw that I was embarrassed, she smiled and nodded. Shin Ranchue still wanted to speak, but I glared at her and she didn't say anything again. Zhou Baogong saw me glaring at Shin Ranchue like this, and he immediately couldn't sit still. As soon as he stood up, he pointed his finger at me and scolded, "Aren't you a driver? I'll fuck you, I just looked down on you, the son of a drug dealer, what's wrong? I can do a little favor and really fucking think I'm a fucking person." Ran Shui, don't ask for this kind of person anymore. The more you beg him for this kind of dick, the more he feels superior. I looked at Zhou Baogong with a gloomy face. Who is the son of a drug dealer again? This thing is my reverse scale, whoever touches it will die. In order to save face in front of Shin Ranchue, Zhou Baogong was not afraid of me and said, "I fucking said what's wrong with you poor dick, if you have a fucking temper, you will beat me. I want to see if you, the stupid cowards who were laughed at by the whole class at school, dare to beat Lao Tzu." I clenched my fist and took a few steps forward, and with a punch I hit him in the face, and he was knocked back by me. "I'll go, if you're so cheap, let me beat you, then how can I not meet your lowly requirements?" He thought I was still the same Zhang Yuan who could be bullied by them at will. Now I believe in one sentence, that is, if people don't offend me, I won't offend anyone. If you mess with me, then I'll make you unlucky. Since I didn't hesitate to make a move, none of them had yet to react. You dare Lao Tzu? Lao Tzu doesn't do it today. If you die, Lao Tzu won't be called Zhou Baogong. He reached out and rubbed the swollen left side of his face, and threw a colorful bowl-shaped flower pot on the table next to him at me. I hurriedly ducked to the side, and the ornament immediately hit the wall behind me and was directly shattered. Zhou Baogong immediately rushed towards me, and I also clenched my fists and prepared to fight back. But Mu Xia and Shin Ranchue hurriedly grabbed one by one. "Let's not make trouble here." Other students around also came to pull the rack. "Zhang Yuan, you are a coward hiding behind a woman. If you have a temper, you will fight with Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu wants you to know that you are nothing." Zhou Baogong was pulled by Shin Ranchue, and he pointed at me and scolded. I looked cold, but I really wanted to go over in him. But I'm not an impulsive person, and I'm slowly calming down. "You are very awesome. If you are awesome, you won't be able to help Shin Ranchue, and you still see the person you like come to me like this? Zhou Baogong, tell me, where are you awesome?" I said to her in a cold tone. "Ran Shui, let go of me. Lao Tzu didn't clean him up today, he really didn't even know who the he was." Zhou Baogong hurriedly asked Shin Ranchue to let go of him, and he was about to come over to clean me up. I'm certainly not afraid of him. Because in the end, who cleans up who really doesn't necessarily say. But at this time, the door of the private room was directly pushed open, and a middle-aged man came in with a dozen fierce thugs. And I still know the one who took the lead, because he is Chao Qianhu, Uncle Chao. "Tell me, who broke the flower pot here?" Uncle Chao asked all the people in the private room with a fierce expression. The people here are ordinary people, and when they see Uncle Chao mixed with society like this, they are naturally afraid in their hearts. I slowly got in front of Mu Xia, and then retreated into the corner with Mu Xia. Zhou Baogong's body trembled slightly, he bit his lip and lowered his head and said, "I broke it." Uncle Chao walked over and immediately slapped him in the face, directly slapping him to the ground. I saw that the corners of Zhou Baogong's mouth were slapped by this slap and blood flowed directly from the corners of his mouth. "Little bastard, do you know how much the flower pots are worth here? Even if the fuck sells you, it's not enough to pay for it. I'm telling you, if you don't have $500,000 today, no one will want to get out of here." Uncle Chao said to all of us with a domineering face. "Big brother, we didn't break that flower pot, he broke it. If you want to lose money, you can just look for him, and it has nothing to do with us." "Yes, big brother, we really have nothing to do with it. You'd better let us go." As soon as Uncle Chao talked about losing money, the true faces of the so-called classmates around him were immediately revealed, and they all cleared up their relationship. Although Shin Ranchue was also a little scared, she still helped Zhou Baogong on the ground up. Lao Tzu doesn't care. If Lao Tzu doesn't see 500,000 today, then use her to pay off the debt. Uncle Chao said and immediately went over and hugged Shin Ranchue. Qin Ranxue was so frightened that she immediately shouted, and Zhou Baogong hurriedly wanted to stop it, but was directly hit to the ground by the two thugs. Blame Shui Ling, if you serve me well tonight, then you don't have to pay back the 500,000 yuan. Uncle Chow hugged Qin Ranxue, who was constantly struggling, and said with a lewd smile. I'll go. Uncle Chow is really shameless. His age is about the same age as Qin Ranxue's father, but he is actually interested in Qin Ranxue. Big brother, my dad is Qin Dazhuang, and I am her daughter. Qin Ranxue cried and struggled, and hurriedly said to Uncle Chow. When Uncle Chow heard this, he immediately let go of her, and then confirmed to her, your father is really Qin Dazhuang? Qin Ranxue saw that Uncle Chow still wanted to give her father face, so she immediately nodded hurriedly. But Uncle Chow's face smiled, and he hugged Qin Ranxue up. Qin Dazhuang is now a mud bodhisattva crossing the river, and it is difficult to protect himself. Even if Lao Tzu slept with his daughter, the old boy didn't dare to do anything to Lao Tzu. Qin Ranxue immediately started crying. She struggled in a hurry, and kept shouting for Musia to save her. Musia was also very anxious when she saw this. She hurriedly took my hand and begged me, asking me to find a way to help Qin Ranxue. I sighed, and now that things are going this way, I'm the only one who has come forward. Although I don't like Qin Ranxue, I can't see Uncle Chow sleeping with him. However, Uncle Chow is really bad. Even a girl like Qin Ranxue, who is at least 20 years younger than him, sleeps. I used to have a good impression of Uncle Chow, but today I realized that Uncle Chow is a big bastard, and he is bad to the end. Uncle Chow! I shouted. Well, who is calling me? Uncle Chow put down Qin Ranxue and hurriedly looked in my direction. I took a few steps forward, looked at Uncle Chow with a smile and said, it's me, Xiao Yuan. Uncle Chow, you won't forget me, will you? He smiled, and then pretended to be surprised and said, oh, it turned out to be Xiao Yuan. Your mother's uncle didn't see you standing in the corner. Are these your friends?